Good morning, and welcome to the first edition of Coffee with Authors, we call it. As you might know, from now on we'll speak only in English, and as you might know, we used to do the Q&A with the invited directors here in the festival in the cinema. But because of those restrictions of this year, luckily the cinema is still open, but we cannot do the Q&A in the cinema, and that's the reason that we do it here live, because we have quite a lot of foreign guests for those times. So let's enter in the, how do we call in the, it's an expression that we used to, let's enter in the bread or something. It's really funny. So the competition started yesterday with 2 blocks of shorts. For, I think, 6 years, we merge the student and professional short film competition in one big block. So they are not divided, but of course the awards are separated. And let me introduce you our guest. We have 2 kind of guests in this morning: an online guest and a physical one. Let's start with maybe with online, because they are far away from us. So Eva, welcome to the online Coffee with Authors.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So how are you? Just let us know your film and.
Yeah, so my name is Eva, and I'm a director of student animation Homebird, and I'm currently in Poland.
Good. And Anne, can you hear us? No. Anne has some small technical problems, but let's continue with our guest here physically in Bucharest. So ladies first.
So yeah, I'm Daniela. I'm the director of Laura Linguist, and yeah, it's a student film that I did in France.
And it was playing the competition number 2.
I'm Remco Pullman. I'm the director of Camouflage, which was also screened yesterday evening at Lockton.
Blocked. Good. And you just you arrived yesterday? No, Remco arrived Sunday here.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Let's. I don't know if Anne. We are waiting for Anne, or she has some. Okay. So let's. Yeah. Let's start talking about your works, your films, and from the including Anne, who maybe she can hear us, but we cannot see her. There are like 3 student films actually, and 1 professional one. And Eva, let's start talking a bit about Homebird. It's your graduation film. You did it in the UK, yes?
Yes, that's correct. I did it at the National Film and Television School in the UK.
And let's enter in the topic of your film.
Yeah. So Homebird is a film about a creative, like artist girl, young adult who moves to a big city to pursue a career in arts. And she moves from the countryside, and as she kind of attends her first kind of creative job interview, she realizes how different she is and how different what she represents is, and she just doesn't go. So then the film in general is about her journey, and kind of her reminding herself where she's from and what her kind of true cultural and artistic identity is, and why she left that place that she came from in the first place, and how to kind of make her own ways in the creative world.
That it's a very colorful film, so you use a lot of colors to tell us something.
So film is kind of divided into 2 parts. One is in the city, and the other one is the kind of dream sequence in the countryside. And the color palettes that I used are meant to reflect that kind of shift between dream and real. So in the city part, it's more kind of cold and less kind of inviting, more gray tones. And the village is supposed to be like very vibrant and very colorful and feel more like something unrealistic. It's more kind of saturated memory of the main character.
Nice, thank you. Daniela?
My film is actually wasn't a graduation film. We had to do a documentary last year. What happened?
Everybody from
everybody from my class, we had to do a documentary. It was an exercise around doing a documentary. And what happened also is confinement happened again in France, and I decided to go back to Spain, where I live, like where my family lives. And I already had an idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to work around languages, because it had been like a big question of mine, or something that has been with me for a long time. And since I moved to France to study, it had become like a big question of mine, like, what is my language? How do I relate to languages? Because French used to be very close to me, but actually moving to France like made my relationship with it shift. So what was good about going back home in Barcelona is that I could actually have all the people I needed to do my documentary, like my family, my friends, everyone. So I was just bothering them, recording them, and
Nice.
and I did it in my room, the movie.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
You are touching the language like Catalan,
Yeah,
and French,
Mhm.
and
Portuguese,
Portuguese.
and English also.
Spanish a bit.
And Spanish too.
Nice. Because I was also asking if you, and I mean in the beginning of the film, if you are going towards the Basque country and to touch that part of the
Yeah.
the language, which is kind of bizarre.
It's very interesting, and
Yeah.
I actually thought about it because I have a friend who is from the Basque country, but then in the end I focused on the people that were around me in my familiar like setting, because if not it would have been a very very long documentary.
Nice. And it's something that you want to explore in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like because actually all of this started because when I like one of my first years of university, I also did a very small short film around languages and how every sonority kind of like what they evoke in me, and then I took it back for this. And I did this documentary because I had also to write an essay, a very long essay this year around the subject, and my subject was multilingualism. So, so yeah, it's coming back. Like,
To me, it also had like some kind of synesthetic feel.
Yeah.
The way you try to visualize languages.
yeah, that's like what interests me, like what kind of how also everyone has different like emotions with languages and sees different things. And actually, like when I did the work, my first work on it was everything that I thought about languages, but I was very curious to ask the people around me, like, hey, what do you think about this specific language? And was very curious, actually, like,
What people came up with.
yeah, realizing my sister thought French was kind of medieval like music, and I thought, yeah, I kind of see it. And then, a friend like talking about English as blue and very like calm, and it was very interesting.
So you didn't start with that on purpose, but like it kind of
I think
originated by itself. Or...
Yeah, and I think I actually knew I wanted, like, because I had a set of questions, and one of the questions was like, what does like these languages, the languages you speak, evoke for you? And I was kind of fishing for this kind of content, actually. And sometimes they didn't give like the answers I wanted. Like they weren't going like, they were being very pragmatical, very like, and I was like, yeah, but really, what do you see when you like think about this language? And I actually, it's one of the parts I really loved animating, because I knew also what was good is I could use a different technique with them also, like, and really love like using Brinton Glenna's animation. So it's very happy like to animate my friend talking about English, and also she has a very soothing voice. So it was perfect, it was amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes you maybe come to Romania to explore because we are like a Latin language and surrounded by Slavic, and
it's very funny because it's Latin, but at the same time you have the impression it's not Latin.
It's the accent. The accent is.
And I find words that seem Italian, like I don't know what morti means in Romanian, like MORTI.
It's death.
Okay, so actually was right. I just saw a box with morti on it, and I was like, do they keep the dead here? Like, but yeah, no, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting that also some films were only subtitled in Romanian, some films yesterday, and like I kind of like could understand using my knowledge of French.
Yeah, the writing, it's quite similar with Italian. I mean, it's almost there, but the accent is different, so we don't have this, So Remco, let's talk about camouflage.
Okay. So first of all, look, I didn't make the movie alone. I actually was a cooperation with Jantine de Kroon, who can't be here, alas, because of COVID restrictions. But so we made it together, and it's what can I say? It's a 20-minute short metaphorical monster movie with a socio-political dimension, I'd say.
But when I first saw your film, I said, oh, maybe I have to research a bit. Maybe it was comics that you did before, and now you did the film.
Yeah, well, I've been doing. Oh, it's not it's not a film based on a comic, although I'm actually thinking about making a comic based on this movie, so the other way around. But yeah, I'm in comics as well. Yeah, been for
Okay.
years, but I've been doing that almost as long as I've been doing animation, so it's not really new.
Good. Because also the design and everything, it like match perfectly to translate it, let's say, in a comic book.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it will work.
But the one thing that, of course, I mean, of course, it was almost impossible to do like 20 minutes alone by yourself.
True.
I'm sure that Eva and Daniela probably in the future, and they said I cannot do by myself the future projects because it's really complicated.
Yeah.
And takes a lot of time.
Yes.
And-
Yeah. We actually I think we started with the idea of like working with a small team, but like it extended throughout the years. At the same moment, we ran out of money, so in like.
But you managed to get some funds for this kind of.
Yeah, but we like severely underestimated the amount of work.
It's
Looking
always
back,
like this.
yeah, true. But like rather like big time with this one, because like we originally planned like I think like doing it in 2 years or something, and in the end we worked more than 5 years on it. A lot of that was for me personally not paid.
Yeah, I think it's always like this.
Yeah.
Like, you say that in 2 years I will do.
Yeah, and still like you start with like, okay, I'm going to anticipate on that, and then still you don't manage.
And about the story of Camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
How did you came up with it? I mean, it's influenced by your science fiction.
Yeah, of course. Like there's the science
The
fiction
literature.
elements, but I think like we more or less started from the idea of a social commentary. So, I mean, if we could have done that better using another genre, we would have done that. I think so. It wasn't meant to be science fiction dystopian monster movie like thing from the start. So we grew towards that.
And you have some political insight.
Yeah, well, it's like it's obviously it's about like exclusion mechanisms and identity questions, of course. Yeah.
And how was it working with someone else? Like, how was working with like co-directing a movie? Like, how did you? I don't know, like the decisions or anything. Like, how did the partnership work?
Well, basically, Jantine and me wrote the script together, and then like most of the directional decisions were up to me,
Okay.
and she did the productional side.
Okay.
So,
So well balanced. There
Yeah, it
weren't
wasn't-
any like fights. Like, no, I wanted it this
no,
way.
it's an interesting question, particularly when you like, if you know trying to focus on something you want to tell, you gotta find a common goal, of
Yeah.
course. But, like I think we had it right from the start. We had a same goal in mind, so
So yeah.
went rather smoothly.
Perfect match.
Yeah.
So for this, which is very important in this
Yeah.
productions.
Yeah.
Good. Eva, back to you. How is a question about the way that you were working and about the production of the film? And I know that there are a lot of schools actually that encourage students working together in teams. How was in your case?
Yeah, it was exactly like that. NFTS offers different courses when it comes to filmmaking. So when you work on your graduation film, you're in a team with a student from each course, from cinematography, editing, screenwriting, production design, composing, sound design. So you actually have the full team made of students at school. But then if there are more demanding techniques, and mine was quite demanding because it was very time consuming, you can also kind of look for additional help in form of like assistants and volunteers and just people who would, spare a day or two to come to the studio and help you make it happen. So yeah, that's how it was. We had like a lot of assistants and a pretty big team made of school students. And each of us, luckily, has at the NFTS, each kind of directing animation student has allocated studio within the campus. So it's like kind of make it easier to have meetings and have actually people coming in and working with you.
Good. And it was somebody from the school that taking care of the, let's say, coordinate the production,
our producer is another graduate now from the producing course, and we also had production manager from the kind of production management short course, and production assistant and coordinators as well. So we actually had like pretty big team for a school production. It was like this film was a kind of a degree film for more than me, for actually like more than 10 people. So yeah. Thank you.
How was in your case
With mine?
I mean, you said that you did it
Yeah,
alone,
I
but
did.
how was
The process? I mean, it was what was very interesting is that my room became my studio, but it often becomes that, like, I don't have a room anymore, it just becomes mine. And what was very interesting for me is that I had never like done a work like this, that I made other people talk for me. Like actually I had other people's stories or feelings and everything that I was animating. And it often was my work that I was doing. And what was, it was, I don't know, it was very interesting also, like going from the sound, like I worked from the sound from all the interviews, and then like I thought about the images and everything, and I got to know a lot about my friends and my boyfriend of the time, my family. And yeah, I guess like I would like to work with other people in the future, but it's true that when you work on your own, well, you can get into your own head, it can be bad, but also like you know what you're doing, you're making your own decisions, and like, yeah, there's sometimes no confusion, but it's like kind of very tiring too.
Yeah. Ramko, about I have a questions like from the, let's say, from the festival point of view, about the length of your film. I mean, I enjoy it. It was clear there. But one question, it's that did you think like before that the length is maybe too long for the, that the festival prefers the film shorter, like 10 minutes? 15.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I mean, we couldn't do it any shorter, I'm afraid. Like, actually, we had a version at some point of the animatic that was like 28 minutes. So like we managed to sneak 8 minutes out of it somehow.
So it was, yeah, that's the story.
That was the minimum.
The minimum, okay.
But I have the impression more and more there's more like short films that actually are longer, like are medium films, and we see them more in festivals. And it's true that, well, like actually I think they fit quite well, because you have short ones and then like you have like longer ones, so you have like different kind of rhythms. And
yeah, I think it works like that.
Yeah.
But still, like 20 minutes is like sometimes a problematic. Like,
yeah,
It's depending, of course, about the it's like different cases about each movie by itself. We cannot generalize, but in general, some festivals they are going into that direction with the 20 minutes short film, which is.
but then it's a shame because they're losing like a lot of like different work.
Yeah. But I do hear from a lot of people that like it doesn't feel that long because it has like steady, let's say so.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't feel like 20 minutes.
Because it's action and something happening there.
There's a lot happening, so yeah. So you keep interested, I hope.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking for some. If there are some questions for you can write them on the chat, the Facebook chat, and I will write them. I will read them actually. And yeah, let's until maybe there will be some question. Let's take another tour about the. Why not the? How did you? Well, Eva said that they were meeting like in person for the production of the film. But how was last year? Because of the situation, and all of you were in production with the film actually.
Yeah, so actually, our production was meant to wrap up last year, but it got extended because we just didn't get the whole coloring done. So we had this and sound design and some just like obviously like the editing, like putting all the ready colored shots together to do remotely, and it proved to be super challenging, but actually not that bad. I guess what the problem is that it just takes longer. It's so much easier to just pop into someone's studio and just like, you know, deal with it directly rather than having to like watch every edit or every, I don't know, sound design example and then kind of think about it and feedback and then wait for another kind of pass and then do the same again and again. So I mean, we made it work, but it definitely took a bit longer than it would have if we were to work in person on things such as editing or coloring or sound design. Yeah, but a big chunk of last year was me kind of coloring it, the kind of remaining shots that were left to do. So it was just, you know, kind of lonely one person work, and then towards the end it was that this kind of collaborative part kind of came back when we were doing the final touches, but like a good few months it was just me and sheets of cell and lots of marker pens and long hours. So it actually allowed me to go through those several lockdowns and waves of pandemic in a decent shape because I had stuff to do all the time and I didn't mind being on my own because that's what the work required.
So yeah, good. You adapted practically because it's one thing when you start from the beginning and you say, "Ah, look, those are the conditions," and we start to work like each of you at home, let's say. And the other thing is that when you start working together in one place and then suddenly you have to go home to work, to split the studio in, I don't know, 5, whatever.
That's exactly what happened. So yeah. I guess we had to kind of figure out how to recreate the studio facilities that we had at school and, you know, like which kind of new bits of kit to buy that now I can use for any other projects and just kind of recreate the same conditions for shooting cell. So that was maybe a little bit tricky due to, you know, budgets. But yeah, we basically had to move the whole kind of production to remote and to my home studio. But it was okay. I guess it allowed me to kind of move out from the school studio and still have a studio. So now I'm proud to have my own little animation rostrum studio because of that.
Good. Daniela, in your case, was a bit easier, yeah?
Yeah, I think the thing is I already had a studio at home, so it was good. And actually what was very funny is that when I went back to Barcelona, so the classes were online, but that they had classes again in real life, but I stayed in Barcelona. So when we had meetings like to discuss the movie a little bit or like to show our work, I would be in a screen in a laptop in the room, and people would like be like saying hello, and yeah, I didn't really know what's happening, but and actually was very good having like a Zoom meeting with my teacher every week because I was very cut out from the animation world, from my classmates, from anything that was happening. It was just like working like at home. And yeah, everything was like all the sounds, everything was done and like far away from like the school facilities and everything.
But usually you have to go there now to work.
Yeah, but actually I have also a tendency of working better at home also. So even when I was like when there was no pandemic, a lot of like the animation I also did it at home. So I actually wasn't very like wasn't that strange for me.
Tomko, in your case?
Well, like I said, like we worked for 5 years in this movie, so actually like only 20% of the time we had the pandemic stuff. But yeah, I mean, the studio where I work is attached to my home, so basically
You are there.
I'm almost always there. So for me personally, it didn't change much, but of course in the beginning we had, you know, the other people, the other animators that were working on it were there at the studio, and then from a certain point on they had to work from home, basically. But it worked quite well. I think like most animators are, you know,
You didn't have like a
kind of
gap.
solitary people after all, you know. So like,
Yeah,
But
yeah, everybody said that no, it was the lockdown and it was good for you for the
yeah,
animation.
it's good for the work.
yeah.
I don't know.
Mentally can be
Maybe in a
bit-
way it was, but come on, it wasn't.
Yeah, of course you miss the social stuff, but like
Of course.
normally
but
I don't do the
everybody
social
thought
stuff
that,
during
oh,
my work. It's a thing.
The lockdown is good for the animation
Yeah.
people and
Because actually you don't feel guilty about not going out and seeing people because
Exactly.
nobody's going out.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
No
for-
FOMO. No.
Yeah.
good guys. If there are no questions, I would like to thank you for being Eva, for being online with us. And
Thank you so much for having me. It was nice to meet you all.
you guys for coming those times to Bucharest.
It's great to be here, Mihai.
Thank you, and hopefully see you, I don't know, next year with a sunny situation from all points of view.
Hopefully.
Thank you, and tomorrow morning there will be another coffee with the authors here at Animast.